Minnesota Office of the State Auditor presents Deferred Interest Calculations. This video will focus on deferred interest and pension calculations for defined benefit relief associations. The topic is intended for relief associations that currently offer or credit interest to deferred members. As a reminder, deferred members receive interest under the type and credit method specified in the bylaws in effect when they separated from active service and active membership. Our office has 2 training videos available on our website that review the deferred interest types and credit methods for defined benefit and defined contribution plans. From our home page, navigate to the Fire Relief Associations page, and under the Training Opportunities box, click the button View All Training Opportunities for Fire Relief Associations. Scrolling down to the Deferred Interest Instructional Videos section, you'll find the other training videos on deferred interest. Our office also has a statement of position on our website that provides additional information regarding deferred interest. Navigate to the Fire Relief Associations page, and under the Statements of Position box, click on View All Statements of Position. By searching Deferred Interest, click on the statement of position called Interest Earnings for Deferred Members of Fire Relief Associations. To begin, we will show 3 example calculations to illustrate how deferred interest is determined under the different credit methods. In these examples, we will be assuming that the Relief Association provides in its bylaws interest under the board set rate of return up to 5%, deferred interest type, and that the member met the minimum age specified in the Relief Association's bylaws to receive a service pension as of the payment date. We will also assume that the board set and the municipality ratified these deferred interest rates. The member information needed to determine the total service pension amount is listed at the top of the document. This includes the member's entry date, separation date, leave of absence amount, and payment date. First, let's compute the base pension calculation by taking the member's years of active service multiplied by the benefit level in effect when the member separated from active service, multiplied by the vesting percentage. In this example, the base pension amount of $40,000 is determined by multiplying 20 years of service by the benefit level of $2,000, and again, multiplied by the vesting percentage of 100%. The supplemental benefit amount is determined based on the base pension amount. This further means that the supplemental benefit is calculated before any deferred interest is added. The supplemental benefit amount is calculated as 10% of the pre-tax base service pension up to $1,000. As a reminder, a deferred member does not earn interest on the supplemental benefit amount. Next, we will start the example calculations by calculating the deferred interest amount when the credit method is defined as full calendar years in the Relief Association's bylaws. In this example, Member A's separation date was March 10, 2021. The base pension amount that we calculated was $40,000. The interest rate for 2021 was set at 3%. The interest rate for 2022 was set at 2%. The interest rate for 2023 was set at 2%. And the interest rates for 2024 and 2025 were both set at 4%. Since Member A was not deferred for the entire calendar year of 2021, and the bylaws require a member to be deferred for an entire calendar year to receive interest, no interest was earned for that year. We then have a balance of $40,000 at the start of 2022. In 2022, Member A was deferred for the entire year, therefore 2% interest would be credited to the member for the 2022 calendar year. After computing 2% of $40,000, Member A is credited with $800 in interest for the 2022 calendar year. The $800 earned in deferred interest for 2022 is then added to the base pension and carried forward to the next year. We now have a balance of $40,800 at the start of 2023, and we repeat the process. In 2023, Member A was again deferred for the entire calendar year, therefore 2% would be credited to the member for the 2023 calendar year. After computing 2% of $40,800, Member A is credited with $816 in interest for the 2023 calendar year. The $816 earned in deferred interest for 2023 is then added to the base pension we started with in 2023 and carried forward to the next year. Starting 2024, we now have a base pension balance of $41,616, and we repeat the process once again. In 2024, Member A was still deferred for the entire calendar year, therefore 4% interest would be credited to the member for the 2024 year. After computing 4% of $41,616, Member A is credited with $1,665 in interest for the 2024 calendar year. The $1,665 earned in deferred interest for 2024 is again added to the base pension we started with in 2024 and carried forward to the next year. Member A requested their pension and was paid on March 10, 2025. Since Member A was not deferred for the entire calendar year of 2025, no interest was earned for that year. Calculating the final pension amount, we have our base pension of $40,000 plus the sum of interest earned for each full year of deferral for a total of $3,281. Adding the supplemental benefit of $1,000, the total pension benefit for Member A under the board set deferred interest type and full year's credit method is equal to $44,281. Next, we will review how to calculate the deferred interest amount when the credit method is defined as full calendar months in the Relief Association's bylaws. Continuing with the same example, all of the same variables apply, and the base pension amount is $40,000 and the supplemental benefit is $1,000. The main difference is how interest is allocated. Continuing with this example, Member A's separation date was March 10, 2021. Under the full calendar months credit method, the allocation of interest begins on the first day of the month after the member separates from active service. Therefore, Member A would earn interest from April 1, 2021 through the end of the 2021 calendar year. This would equate to Member A earning interest for 9 months of 2021 at the board set interest rate of 3%. To calculate the interest earned in 2021, we take the base pension balance of $40,000 multiplied by 3% and then multiply the amount by the total number of months Member A was deferred during the calendar year divided by 12. In this example, Member A was deferred for 9 months during 2021, so the 2021 deferred interest amount would be $40,000 times 3% times 9 over 12, or $900. Member A is then credited with $900 in interest for the 2021 calendar year. The $900 earned in interest for 2021 is then added to the base pension amount and carried forward to the next year. We now have a balance of $40,900 at the start of 2022, and we repeat the process. In 2022, Member A was deferred for the entire calendar year, and the interest rate for 2022 was set at 2%. Therefore, 2% interest would be credited to the member for the entire 2022 calendar year. After computing 2% of $40,900, Member A is credited with $818 in interest for the 2022 calendar year. The $818 earned in deferred interest for 2022 is then added to the base pension we started with in 2022 and carried forward to the next year. There were 2 additional years where Member A was deferred for the entire year, so the same process is used to compute the interest for 2023 and 2024. Member A requested their pension and was paid on March 10, 2025. For the final year, Member A was deferred for January and February in 2025 and would receive deferred interest for 2 months. To calculate the interest earned in 2025, we take the base pension balance of $44,254 multiplied by 4%, since the interest rate was set at 4% for 2025. This number is then multiplied by the total number of months Member A was deferred for during the calendar year divided by 12. The 2025 deferred interest amount is then calculated as $44,254 times 4% times 2 divided by 12 for a total of $295. Calculating the final pension amount, we have our base pension of $40,000 plus the sum of interest earned for each full month of deferral, which totaled $4,549. Adding in the supplemental benefit of $1,000, the total pension benefit for member A under the board set deferred interest type and full calendar months credit method is equal to $45,549. Finally, we will review how to calculate the deferred interest amount when the credit method is defined as full period of deferral in the Relief Association's bylaws. Continuing with the same example, all of the same variables apply, and the base pension amount is $40,000 and the supplemental benefit amount is $1,000. The main difference is that the interest will be calculated based on days of deferral. Continuing with this example, member A's separation date from active service was March 10, 2021. Since the month of March has 31 days, member A would earn interest for the last 21 days plus the additional 9 full months in 2021. To calculate the interest earned in 2021, we take the base pension balance of $40,000 multiplied by 3%. We then multiply the amount by the total number of days member A was deferred during 2021. The 21 days should be in terms of a fraction of a month. So we take 21 days divided by 31 days in March and add that to 9 months. This equates to member A earning deferred interest for a period of 9.677 months in 2021. Applying the formula, we would then multiply by 9.677 divided by 12. So the deferred interest amount would be $40,000 times 3% times 9.677 divided by 12 for a total of $968. Member A is then credited with $968 in interest for the 2021 calendar year. The $968 earned in deferred interest for 2021 is then added to the base pension and carried forward to the next year. We now have a balance of $40,968 at the start of 2022, and we repeat the process. In 2022, member A was deferred for the entire calendar year, and the interest rate for 2022 was set at 2%. Therefore, 2% interest would be credited to the member for the entire 2022 calendar year. After computing 2% of $40,968, member A is credited with $819 in interest for the 2022 calendar year. The $819 earned in deferred interest for 2022 is then added to the base pension we started with in 2022 and carried forward to the next year. There were 2 additional years where member A was deferred for the entire year, so the exact same process is used to compute the interest for 2023 and for 2024. Member A requested their pension and was paid on March 10, 2025. For the final year, member A was deferred for January and February in 2025, and because the full period credit method is a daily deferral credit method, member A would also earn interest for 10 days in March. To calculate the interest earned in 2025, we take the base pension balance of $44,328 multiplied by 4%, since the interest rate was set at 4% for 2025. We then take 10 days divided by 31 days, since March has 31 days, and add that to 2 months. This equates to member A earning deferred interest for a period of 2.323 months in 2025. Applying the formula, we would then multiply 2.323 divided by 12. So again, the deferred interest amount would be $44,328 times 4% times 2.323 divided by 12 for a total of $343. Member A is then credited with $343 in interest for the 2025 calendar year. Calculating the final pension amount, we have our base pension of $40,000 plus the sum of interest earned for the full period of deferral, which totaled $4,671, Adding in the supplemental benefit of $1,000, the total pension benefit for member A under the board set deferred interest type and full period credit method is equal to $45,671. Let's compare how the different credit methods affect the total pension benefit amount. The full calendar year method results in the lowest pension benefit amount of $44,281. The full calendar month allocation method calculates a slightly higher pension benefit amount of $45,549. The full period credit method results in the highest pension benefit amount of $45,671. There are three ways in which interest could be credited to members that are no longer authorized options for newly deferred members. Because deferred members receive benefits based on the law and bylaws in effect when they leave service, a relief association may still be crediting interest under these methods to members who left when they were permitted. For deferred members who separated from active service under the relief rate of return up to 5%, OSA rate of return up to 5%, and straight 5% deferred interest types, the calculations are completed using the same methodology as shown in previous examples for the board set rate interest type. The difference being the interest rates in effect for the years of deferral. Again, please be aware that the relief rate of return up to 5%, OSA rate of return up to 5%, and straight 5% deferred interest types are no longer authorized and are not available to newly deferred members. This concludes our online training video on deferred interest calculations for defined benefit plan types. To view all training videos from our homepage, visit the Fire Relief Association's page and under the Training Opportunities box, click the button View All Training Opportunities for Fire Relief Associations.